Okay, we're going to talk about rentals. We're going to talk about rentals today. A little special episode. It's going to be a shorter video, but I do want to cover for the folks that are interested in buying an investment property and you want to rent out that home, or you've got a home right now where maybe you're having a little bit of a challenge selling it. Then we need to talk, and maybe you can get some income for it. And we're going to talk about the ins and outs of rentals because we do have a property management division at Realty Executives in the Villages. I'm Glenn Stein, the broker here at Realty Executives. GoRentVillages.com is actually our rental site where you can go, and if you are interested in a rental, you can find a property that you would be interested in renting. Our short term, we may have one property left right at the moment for a short term seasonal, January, February, March, super busy. And then, of course, we may have one or two available for long term. We are in need of more inventory, right? We've seen sales inventory go up. Our rental inventory is kind of plateaued because there's, for the people that are not buying, the people that are not buying are looking at renting. So it's been very, very brisk. I'm going to tell you that we get typically 10 to 15 calls a week minimum on that. 10 to 15 calls maybe on a weekend. So I can tell from the answering service how much traffic we get from people that want to rent a property. So it's very, very big, especially in season and especially now. Some people are still looking for a last minute something to get into, and right now it's not impossible, but really, really a challenge. So unless we have some cancellations. But if you do have questions about our rental department, 352-753-7500, 352-753-7500. We have a couple of property managers that take care of different things. You can also talk to Sandra directly off hours, 352-572-7328, or you can connect with me, Glenn Stein, 352-572-3796. If you have some questions about the rental process, typically what we charge, some people ask that too, what do we charge? What's it cost? Typically, it can go all the way up to first month's rent, depending on how much marketing we do for procurement, and also for a management. So when we typically look for a renter for something, it's typically, we go through the whole vetting process. There's a credit check, background check, that's that kind of thing. How does your rental? Sorry, KR, if you can give me a little bit more of a description, that would be great in the chat. So typically it's 8 to 10% on procurement or management, and then procurement could be anywhere from half months to full month's rent. So that's usually the cost. I like telling people the cost up front, and I don't like hidden stuff, and there's no extra charges. And by the way, a lot of things that we don't do, we don't charge extra. This is something that I know property management companies do around the country. They'll charge a little bit extra for repairs and that type of thing. No, we're going to treat your property like it's our own, and it's definitely something where we treat it like with kids' gloves. We make sure that things are clean. We have cleaners that just work with us, and they do a great job with this. We make sure that the properties are kept in good shape. We have empty nest companies that we're connected with. We used to have empty nest, but now we basically gave that to another party, and they're doing the empty nest as a separate company. And we just make sure that things are taken care of and cared for. I think we do a really good job. I think we provide a really good value. So KR is asking, how does your rental division differ from Hometown Property Management? Disappointing experience with them and the owner. I'm definitely not related to Hometown Property Management. I've heard a few things. I'm certainly not going to comment in public about it, but yeah, I've heard some things about them. But yeah, definitely different. We're certainly not related to them. And we've been in business, by the way, for the folks that don't know. Sometimes we assume that people understand who we are because we've been in business. We've been in the Villages since 2004. And we've been in the building we've been in, which is what I call the Siebert Wealth Building, right next to the Hampton Inn across from Laurel Manor on 466. So stop in for the folks that want to see us and make sure I think it's important who you work with matters, and you can trust the people, especially when owners are out of town. I think it's really important you have people that you can trust. Are we perfect? No, things happen. But if it is our fault, and it's not the tenants, if it's not the tenant's fault, something that we did, try to make it good. That's certainly something that we've tried to do, and we've got a really good reputation in the community. So yeah, having a good cleaner is important. Having good maintenance people, having good plumbers, having good vendors that we have access to, and you don't have to worry about that. Some people like to do it their own. They do it through, I think there's Villages by Owner, whatever it is, or Rentals by the Villagers, or something of that nature. And I think that's fine. If that's your speed, that's okay. I don't even manage my own properties. Like, I have my own, the property manager here manages my properties, whether it's in the Villages or in the Ocala area. I have somebody else doing it. Like, people want to talk to me, and I don't want to be in that. I don't want to have those conversations, because then people ask for favors. Can you do this? Can you do that? I think it's good to have a buffer, almost like the middleman, the bad guy, right in the middle, to make sure that you get your money and your properties protected, because sometimes we can be too kind-hearted in the process. So let's take a look at the thing I wanted to show you is, obviously the property values have come down a bit in the Villages, but what's interesting is that the rental properties have actually gone up. Like rental pricing has gone up. So if we take a look at some of the properties, this particular property here, leased, and we're going to look at leased properties, not properties that are, they're active and they're trying to get the money. No, because that's fantasy land. What I always look at, almost always, and put a lot of weight towards, whether it's trying to figure out the price of a home or trying to figure out the rental price of a home, is let's look at what's factual and what's reality, and that's going to be what's actually occurred. So here's the thing. Let's look at this particular property here, this one in St. James. This is an annual rental. It gives you an idea of what we're looking at here. This is a Whispering Pine model, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, $2,400 per month. That gives you an idea of what something like this can rent for. Okay. So let's look at some other things. Some people have looked at the Village of Fenny, and by the way, Fenny is super interesting, because it's like, oh, that's the new section. Well, Fenny was built in 2017. That's 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long since Fenny started. But 1,600 square feet, looking at $3,200. Okay. This one is, let's see, this one is let's look at this. Has a pool. It's a court. Looks like a courtyard villa. Yep, Arlington 2. Right. So that this was this is actually a seasonal property, $3,200 per month for the season. Okay, that gives you another sample idea. Let's look at the lowest. What's the lowest rental price? What are we talking about in the Villages? So this one here rented for $1,500. Let's see what the story is on this one. This one is a patio villa, right? 2-bedroom, 2-bath, Sumter Eagle. Yeah, actually Eagle Ridge Villas, right? Yep. So this one's $1,500 unfurnished. That'll be an annual rental. Some people ask me, which is better? Should I, long-term, short-term? I would say if you had something that's furnished already, it makes sense to do a seasonal rental, especially, if it's fall, winter. If it's, April, May, June, then obviously going for a longer term type of situation. Or if your home is unfurnished and it's vacant, then I don't recommend putting in furniture just to get it rented. I would go with the long-term option. So here's another one, $1,900, 1,392 square feet, Murrells Inlet Loop. This is a long-term rental in Amarillo, so $1,900. It gives you an idea. So we're seeing $1,900 to $2,300, $2,400. The typical, whether it's an Amarillo, Whispering Pine, that type of property. That gives you an idea there. And you're talking about $3,400. Probably is going to be, I'd say, on the light side. We're seeing over $4,000. Let's go on the higher side of things. We got one here at 3,500 at 4,250. What was this at 4,250? Furnished home, golf and water frontage. This is a Gardenia, right? That's what this is. Gives you an idea there. So $4,200 furnished. I still think that's light, by the way. I think that's we're getting more at our company. We're getting well over $4,000 for something like this golf and waterfront. So I think it's important. I think the big thing is here's some basic information when you're thinking about if you're thinking about renting out your home or you're thinking about buying an investment property. I think it's really important to interview your property manager. And of course, that's what we do. We've got property management here. We've been doing it for the last 18 years. And ask them what they think the property can go for after they look at it, right? Like, I think it's important to see the property, especially on the rental side, condition, location, size, if there's certain appointments that are better than others. But if you have questions, please connect. That's our rental report in the Villages. I'm Glenn Stein, Realty Executives in the Villages, and we'll see you very, very soon.